Yeah, I asked everybody.
Oh, like are you? Yeah, actually, they were like just fighting. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like you said. I'm not gonna lie.
Why you ask from
All right. All right, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Happy Tuesday. Although I heard someone say it feels like a Monday, which I kind of feel like it feels like a Monday too. So welcome to class. Does everyone have their name tag? If not, make sure you grab it. And make sure, do not return it, leave it at your seat so that I can collect them and record attendance. So any name tags that are up here by the end of class get marked as absent. So make sure your name's not in that pile. And yeah, so that's where we'll get started. So this week, what we will be covering, we'll start out picking up where we left off last time with personal mission statements. Essentially, we will go around and give you an opportunity to share that. I'll start by sharing one of my mission statements. Then I actually have kind of flipped some things around. I'm going to start with a lecture on ethical public speaking because it's very short. And then we will transition into special occasion speaking. So this is the first speech type that we're going to learn about. And it really does set a foundation for what we're going to learn with informative speaking and persuasive speaking, because we're going to kind of be introduced to the speech outline template that I provide. So we're going to learn a little bit about special occasion speaking, different types of special occasion speeches. And I have some examples of those different types of special occasion speeches, including a formal self-introduction and a formal classmate introduction that we can watch. And then we will, you all will be paired up in either 2 or 3s, and then given the assignment to do, just ask a couple questions of your partner and prepare, based on what we learn with the speech outline template, prepare a short introduction of them. The plan will be, the plan right now, will be for us to do that on Thursday. So Thursday will be the opportunity. Well, also, if we should have some time when we start the class, if you wanted to, run by your partner what you're about to share about them, we'll have some time. Should have some time to do that on Thursday, and then we'll go around introducing each other, and then that wraps up kind of our learning objectives for this week. So that's what we have scheduled. Let me just pull up here as well on our Brightspace. Just make note that if you go to an assignment, so let's go like to week 2. If we go down to module 1, week 2, right, here's everything for week 2, or actually we're in week 3 right now, we can go to week 3. If you go to an assignment and you click a link for a file and it doesn't work, like that one right there, do not fear, because that's why I have the course resources section down below all of the modules. So you can go to course resources and you'll be able to download that file. So that there's still some links that you may not know. We used to use Blackboard. As a school, we then transitioned to Brightspace, and some of my links still link to Blackboard. So as every semester these pop up, because as I modify the course, and every now and then there's a few that still I need to go in and replace. So, but just know Course Resources has all the files that you need. So if you try to access that through an assignment and don't have any success, that's where you'll be able to find not just those files, but I have the instructor examples of the various speeches that we'll be doing as well. So you can use that as reference. So that is, and I actually duplicated this course from one I taught at Concordia because the link is trying to go to that Concordia's old Blackboard. So anyway, I need to update that. So there we go. That's what we have planned for today. Any questions on this week? All right. So the Yep. So we will get started with our personal mission statements, sharing our personal mission statements. Similar to when you introduced yourself, we'll just have you stand up where you're at. You don't necessarily have to come up to the lectern. Eventually, though, we will get practice coming up and standing in front of the group here. So you can stand up at your seat, just face the majority of the class, and then and share. My mission is to. So just a few notes on that. We want to make sure our personal mission statements are in the active voice, and that you're sharing your action, verb, core value, source of passion. And again, this could be one sentence, or you may have expanded it to a couple of sentences, but at most a paragraph. And that's our plan to do today, just to get started, to kind of wrap up our time last week. So if all you do is stand up and say, my mission is to, action, verb, core value, source of passion, that's the minimum. If you have anything else you'd like to share, feel free to do that. So to get started, I'll share my mission is to help people develop their critical thinking, communication, cultural competency, and leadership skills. I'm going to do that by being an informed, passionate, personal, and engaging educator. That's one of my many personal mission statements. So now we will go around and everyone share. Last time we started on this side and worked our way around. Now we'll start on this side and work our way around. So Chakri will be first, and we'll do a zigzag pattern and kind of go over, back, over, back, over, back, over, back, over. So then we'll end in the corner there, and then we'll flip over to Catherine, and we'll go zigzag pattern over, up, over, up, over, up, over. So that'll be our pattern. So the goal is just to stand up and share. What is your personal mission statement? And when someone is done sharing their personal mission statement, make sure you give a thunderous round of applause to show your appreciation for them being courageous and standing up and sharing their personal mission statement. If clapping isn't your thing, you can also do snaps or drum the table, whatever you want. But let's hear some great applause to show appreciation and encouragement. So, Chris, kick us off.
We have to stand up. Or?
I don't have mine is on my laptop. I don't have it because I wasn't here because I just have to type it up and send it to you. I don't have
Okay.
actually paper.
Do you have a way to pull it up?
Right now?
Oh, okay. Let me see. Let me see if I can pull it up here. So we can skip you, and we'll come back after I pull it up.
Are we standing up?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have another extra copy of that actually?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right, go ahead.
My mission is to inspire positive change through creativity, compassion, and continuous learning, and to empower others to reach their full potential.
My mission is to empower underprivileged individuals by improving their financial knowledge and skills through personalized mentorship, interactive workshops, and informative classes.
Alright, my mission is to counsel individuals who suffer from an addiction and families who may have a loved one who suffer from an addiction. My goal is to inspire, support, and educate individuals on how to overcome that addiction and to provide the same resources for families to repair relationships after recovery.
Love it. Thank you.
My mission is to discuss how people's happiness can change the perception on people's environment and how they live in how they live and surround themselves in. I would like to see how people who are happy with their environment show the way they get the happiness and how to help their environment so we borrow what they know to help get happiness everywhere that needs it.
My mission is to model emotional well-being for children with family issues.
So my mission is to encourage adults over the age of 30 to attend college to further their education and let them know that it's never too late to attend, even though some in society make it seem so.
My mission is to manifest and influence inner peace, emotional well-being, and wealth for myself and family, but also for generations to come.
My mission is to create a safe space to improve emotional well-being in myself and in others.
My mission is to encourage kindness in the home, for families to treat each other better, and bring happiness and beauty into their lives by extension.
My mission is to increase knowledge on mental health issues and provide resources for those who are at a disadvantage.
My mission is to educate and nurture young people by fostering cooperation, dignity, and empower through collective efforts in order to build a generation today and for future generations to come.
My mission is to combat oppression, help those that don't have a voice, and overall help be a helping hand through open-mindedness, being considerate, and compassionate.
My mission is to educate people on their knowledge of immigration and nonprofit agencies by outsourcing information from communities and education centers.
My mission is to immerse myself in learning both academically and through real world experiences to develop a deep understanding of finance, entrepreneurship, and innovation so that I can help others to achieve financial stability.
My mission is to organize power in literature.
Cool, thank you.
My mission is to enhance emotional well-being within labor relations.
My mission is to build self-worth in children by encouraging self-love.
My mission is to accomplish excellence in consulting through innovative approaches and gaining wisdom.
My mission is to bring joy to others through music and camaraderie by creating a space where others can enjoy music in the company of their loved ones without the stress of the outside world.
My mission is to obtain an associate degree and cultivate the essential skills required for my future career, enabling me to make meaningful contribution to society. I will be achieving this by fostering cooperation within the peers and empowering each other. I will dedicate adequate time for assignments and the participation in class, and I'm motivated by the belief that all my dedication will be worthwhile. Thank you.
My mission is to reform service to the environment by having neighborhood cleanups and advocating for greener methods.
My mission is to motivate children that believe the odds are against them, that they can be successful by being living proof of that and being a voice in the community.
My mission is to empower myself and others by cultivating a life of personal success, integrity, and emotional well-being.
My mission statement is to help women heal with women's issues, emotional well-being, and to be able to provide freedom to those that lack love and kindness in their life.
Cool. All right. Thank you all. There you go. Your missions, should you choose to accept them, right? All right, so let's move forward.
So this one in the geology.
All right, 6:18, let's get started. All right. You should all have in front of you a special occasion speech outline, example template. So that is what we're going to be referencing.
Thank you.
All right, you ready? Ready? Only got one? All right, so some of what I share might sound familiar. See if this sounds familiar. fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Gettysburg Address, 1863. My fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. John F. Kennedy's inaugural address, 1961.
Are you gonna do the Monica Lewinsky one next?
Oh, please.
What's that?
So you're gonna do the Monica Lewinsky speech next?
I will not be doing that one, no.
Right, she's a you pick up the president that's been assassinated.
They are the president. All of them have been assassinated.
Oh, see that?
Do not let that scare you away from doing special occasion speeches.
It really does.
Is this like the kill list?
I have a dream. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech, 1963. Some of the most memorable speeches throughout history came from special occasion speeches, but what you may not realize is kind of an everyday thing, from introducing a new colleague at work to delivering a toast at a friend's wedding or a eulogy at a family member's funeral. There are many times in our lives when we might be called upon to deliver some words, as they would say. And those are special occasion speeches. So throughout my years speaking at events, I have both introduced many speakers and been introduced myself as the speaker. And as the speaker, I would actually often provide a little speech outline to whoever was going to be introducing me. And that's not uncommon for professional speakers to have a short biography that we share with event organizers. But I would provide this in advance so that whoever was giving an introduction of me would do it correctly and accurately. And I often found that the people who were tasked with giving my introduction were a little nervous. And so they often were very welcoming to the idea of me providing some kind of outline for them to speak from. It helped improve their confidence. And I'll tell you, a confident person introducing me really aided my ethos or my credibility as a speaker. And so my credibility actually would even start, even before I would get up and speak. It starts, when we enter the room and when we shake hands with audience members. But it's continually developed as we approach the stage or as we approach the lectern, and is strengthened by having someone introduce us confidently and effectively. And so what we learn in this course about giving introduction speeches, again, will be applicable to your professional life, whether you are being introduced or whether you are introducing someone. So I want to explain what makes special occasion speeches unique, because there are specific types of special occasion speeches. I'm going to show you some examples. So we're going to watch some videos of special occasion speeches. And I've provided a template as well that we're going to dive into both today and in our next class, so that we get familiar with some of the parts of a speech. So let me start by just sharing, again, I like to start basic. What makes a special occasion speech unique? What makes it special? Well, many special occasion speeches involve some sort of speaking to a large group. It could also be a smaller group, perhaps at a dedication or at a ceremony that maybe just includes family. But ceremonies such as weddings and funerals all include some kind of speech that make those occasions special and make those occasions memorable. And so, the primary purpose of a special occasion speech is neither to inform or to persuade, but to fulfill the needs of the occasion. Again, we're a part of these throughout our lives, whether it's a graduation ceremony or a funeral, right? We see these, we hear these. As a matter of fact, a lot of the kind of inspirational messages that we may go to come from people who are asked to give graduation speeches, right? Or people who are asked to speak before the crowd. So again, the primary purpose of a special occasion speech is to fulfill the needs of the occasion. And so we as the speaker have some responsibility to identify what are the needs of the occasion. And this is going to be a little bit different. When we talk about informative speaking, the goal is to inform, to teach. When we talk about persuasive speaking, it's to persuade to some kind of outcome, right? To persuade someone to do something or to agree with you on something. For a special occasion speech, it's a variety of things. We may be persuasive, we may be informative, but we ultimately need to choose what are the needs of the situation. So again, there may be informative elements, there may be persuasive elements, but the aim is for you as the speaker to identify what are the needs of the situation, what are the needs of that context. So, is there a need to celebrate? Is there a need to entertain? Is there a need to inspire, to give thanks, to remember someone? Is it for you to determine, right, or it is for you to determine what those needs are? Maybe the needs are to be humorous, right? Comedy was mentioned as rhetoric in the previous class. It is, and in fact, comedy is a special type of speech, right? Essentially, comedians are writing speeches, and delivering speeches. So there are a variety of different types of speeches, and so I want to kind of introduce you to those four main types and give you some examples. And each example I provide, I want you to make note of what stands out to you. What stands out and resonates with you? Is it a story someone shares? Right? Is it an image they show? What resonates with you? Because when we get into writing these speeches and when you get to introducing each other, you're going to want to make note of that, right? Because what stands out to you has probably stood out to someone else, and we want to duplicate that. We want to replicate that. We want to model what we see and what we hear. So that's why I provide these video examples of students doing it right. So, again, the purpose of a special occasion speech is to determine the needs of that occasion, but there are typically four kind of general types of special occasion speeches. The first is that speech of introduction. So this type of speech is one where you are introducing someone to an audience. So just for our understanding, a good introduction speech builds enthusiasm for the speaker. You want your audience excited for the person who's about to come up and speak. It generates interest in the speaker's topic. So you need to know, what are they speaking on? And how can you generate some interest and excitement around not just the speaker, but their topic? And then it also establishes a welcoming climate for the speaker, which helps boost the speaker's credibility. And as someone introducing a speaker, your credibility really is connected to the person you are introducing. And so you really need to make sure that you are, and their credibility is connected to your introduction. So it is a symbiotic relationship that you and whoever you're introducing really do work together to ensure that credibility comes through in this speech of introduction. It should be brief, it should be accurate, and it should be adapted to each person. So I do have some speeches of introduction that I've written that are general, right? I've got some quotes, I've got some stories, and then I can insert, when I was doing this on a regular basis, I could talk with a person for about 3 to 5 minutes, whoever I was going to be introducing, insert personal information about them, get up and introduce them. And so hopefully, again, by providing a template for you and providing some examples, you'll be able to see kind of how plug and play easy this is. And so let's look at an example of a self-introduction speech. And this is titled The Courtyard. And again, I want you to see what stands out to you. And this is a formal speech. And so, as a formal speech, it's going to feel a little bit different. It may not feel as personal as like a conversation with someone. There should be a conversational tone, and when we get to delivery of our speeches, we'll tackle this in more detail. But it may not feel as personal, but they are delivering a speech before a class, and they are using a visual aid. And so everything that we see here, again, we want to model as we move forward. So here is an example of a self-introduction speech.
When I look at this photo, I think of lemons, peaches, and guava. I think of lush green trees and bright red roses. I think of good food and joyous celebrations, birthdays, weddings, holidays. This courtyard is where my grandmother lived and taught me about my Mexican heritage. Even though I was born in the US and have lived here all my life, the courtyard is very meaningful to me. It has helped me to understand the importance of family and the cultures that have shaped my life. The courtyard symbolizes the importance of family in my life. It's located in a small town in Mexico where both my parents were born and raised. I first visited the courtyard when I was 5 years old, and I will never forget the meals and my grandmother's love. Over the years, she taught me to dance to mariachi music in the courtyard, about the roses and the other flowers, and she told me the story when my father asked for my mother's hand in marriage in that very courtyard. In addition to family, the courtyard symbolizes the different cultures that have shaped my life. Whenever we went to Mexico, my parents lit up because it felt like home to them, but not to me. Sometimes I felt out of place, especially because I was born in the US and my Spanish is not perfect. That led me to wonder who I am and how I should identify. With friends here, I sometimes feel too Mexican, but in Mexico, I definitely feel American. I don't think I ever got over these feelings, but I've learned to accept them. So, even though now I'm a student here at Wisconsin, when I look at this photo, I can practically smell the roses and hear the joy of family celebrations. And I miss my grandmother. She died 2 years ago, but I can still see her face and hear her voice. And I remember all the things she taught me on the tiled floor by the fountain. Now, I proudly call the US home, but when I look at this photo, I will always think of my grandmother and my home away from home. Thank you.
So here we have a great example of storytelling and really the power of sharing information through the use of story and narrative. And in this example, she shares, right, stories of her family, and she's introducing us to herself and things that she values through this story. And so I share that as an example that we can model and that we'll learn about, specifically when we dive deeper into informative speaking. We'll learn how to use that technique. I also want to share a formal classmate introduction speech. Now, when you all introduce each other at our next class, it won't be formal, so you won't need a PowerPoint presentation. You won't have to come up to the lectern. You can stay where you are or pair up and with who you're partnered with if you want and introduce each other that way, or both come up to the front, whatever. We can be flexible with that. But this is a formal classmate introduction. But again, listen to the story. Listen to how they're providing facts and information, and not just sharing with us facts or information, but incorporating that through the use of storytelling. I will also share, so the title of this video is Fearless. And the speaker shares some personal stories about the person they are introducing. And I will preface that by saying, when you are getting to know each other and introducing each other in this class, you do not have to get this personal. She shares some personal examples, unless, and again, you have to realize they were filming this for this purpose as an example, and so clearly the person she interviewed gave her permission to share these stories. And I would say the same for you all. As you are when you're going to interview each other, then you will, make sure you verify with the person you're interviewing if they share something with you that is then allowed to be shared with the class. So we want to make sure we have that consent. But so know that the person she is presenting was okay with some of these examples that she shares.
Fear, monsters, the unknown. We all know what it's like to be scared. Our classmate Bella certainly does. Ever since she can remember, she's had night terrors. Dreams so vivid and so real that she'll wake herself up in a panic. Once, she even fell out of bed and rammed her chin into a dresser. That's Bella at night. But during the day, she's completely different. She's fearless. She's fearless in athletics, she's fearless in travel, and she's fearless in seizing new opportunities. Bella is fearless when it comes to athletics. In high school, she played on her varsity soccer team for 3 years. That's impressive considering her team won state championships for junior and senior year. On the soccer field, Bella is a midfielder, which means she uses a lot of endurance. Outside the soccer field, she uses her endurance to run marathons. Athletics give Bella bravery. Bravery that she uses in other parts of her life. Other parts, like travel. When she was 7, she traveled to Italy for a family reunion and loved every second of it. Last year, she went to New York and the Dominican Republic, where she participated in Alternative Spring Break. This year, she's going on Alternative Spring Break again, this time in New Orleans. Wherever she travels, Bella looks to expand her horizons. She also looks to expand her horizons by seizing whatever opportunities, large or small, come her way. For example, Bella grew up in Minnesota and often went to the state fair where she tried unusual foods, like deep fried butter. In her junior year of high school, she tried being a vegetarian, but that failed miserably. Here, at Wisconsin, she wants to be a business major, even though she has no idea exactly what she wants to do with her life. Soon, she plans on joining a sorority and starting a flag football team. Whatever it may be, Bella will be open-minded and seize what life has to offer. An amazing athlete, a seasoned traveler, an open-minded and adventurous person. That's Bella. She's fearless. Except when it comes to the occasional night terror.
So here we have, I think, a great example of repetition. And we see this in a variety of special occasion speeches, but where you find a word and you repeat that word multiple times for emphasis. And so we'll dive deeper into that strategy when we get into informative speaking. But here she used the word fearless, right? And that essentially was her, how she guided us through. Like she shared this story of fear and then and then kind of did the juxtapose that to, or did the contrary of that by sharing with us the ways in which Bella is fearless. And so, and fearless as an athlete, fearless as a traveler, fearless as an open person, open, optimistic person. So they use this kind of repetitive phrase of fearless to guide us through their main points. So again, it's a strategy we want to utilize when we get to specifically our informative speeches, but maybe there's a way you can incorporate it into your classmate introduction. So those are informative speeches. Let me just kind of highlight some of the other speeches that you may or may not see throughout your life. So the next is a speech of presentation. So these are where you are presenting either a gift or an award to someone. Very common, specifically in the workplace, right? I know the variety of jobs I've had. We've had Employee of the Month, right? Or some places I've had Employee of the Week. At one place, we had a little duck award that we passed around every week. We called it the Duck of the Week. And someone new got it every week. So regardless of how you give awards or give gifts, it's customary to say some words, right? And that's a speech of presentation. And so we won't watch this video, but I did want to just share that when you are done with college, there aren't really a lot of opportunities for professional development in the real world unless you get involved with something at work, right? If work has some kind of professional development opportunity. But there is an organization called Toastmasters. Has anybody here heard of Toastmasters International? Okay. All right, so you're familiar with it. Toastmasters, a lot of us who've been doing public speaking work for a long time have been a part of Toastmasters. Great organization for both leadership development and communication skill development like public speaking. So I'll provide this video on Brightspace, so we won't necessarily watch it now, but it's from a Toastmasters meeting where someone is giving a speech of presentation and presenting an award to someone. So ultimately what I want you to know about this is that you are essentially listing the recipient's achievements. That is one of the goals of giving the award. Why are they eligible or deserving of this award? And that's really the primary objective of a speech of presentation. So again, we won't watch this, but I'll post it on Brightspace. The other is if you're on the receiving end of that, you're accepting an award, in which case you're giving thanks for that gift or for that award. And again, it's usually customary for someone to say some words, right? Oh, here's this award. Do you have anything to say? And again, we can prepare in advance for these opportunities, specifically if we know we're receiving an award. And so we can write out some words of thanks for that gift or acknowledging those people who helped us receive that award. But I do want to kind of just make note with speeches of acceptance, that if the award is won as a part of a competition, it is customary, it is good etiquette to praise the other competitors. And that is where, specifically in politics, I'll point out, again, I'll talk a lot about politics. I'll let you decide which part of the political spectrum you fall on, because I rag on all parties equally. But some of our politicians nowadays have skipped this step. They feel like it's not necessary. And so they don't praise their other competitors. They actually diss their competitors. And that's poor form, it's poor etiquette, and what we would say is unethical public speaking. So you should, if it is done in a competition and you are the winner of that competition, you should acknowledge and give some praise and acknowledgement to others who competed. There is a great example of this that, again, we won't show in class just for time, but I will post it on Brightspace. Malala Yousafzai, has anyone heard of her? She's done some great work. She's a Nobel Peace Prize winner. She's done some great work, essentially. She explains more in her speech, so I'll share that there. She wrote a beautiful book, and when I was working at Washington State University, that book was part of what we call our common reading, that all students were required to read, and then we had her come and be a speaker for us. And so, but she's really a powerful presence, specifically when it comes to women's education and rights, children and women's rights. So, but in this example of her receiving her Nobel Peace Prize, she recognizes the other people on stage with her, one of which is someone from a completely different country and cultural background from her. And so, so it's a beautiful speech, and she does a great job incorporating humor. So again, I'll post this on Brightspace for you to watch at your leisure as a good example of accepting an award. And then we have kind of our last of our special occasion speeches, and this is a commemorative speech. This is going to be when you are paying tribute to a person or to a group of people, when you're trying to inspire in an audience, and admiration for a person or for an institution, and usually presents information, sometimes is persuasive, but ultimately the goal is to arouse sentiments and feelings, to include a lot of pathos, to really invoke those emotions. And so we see these, specifically political speeches, we see these at graduations. These are the commemorative or ceremonial speeches that are kind of part of what are going to be on YouTube, right? And that we see in the news. I do want to show an example, excuse me, of a good commemorative speech. But I'm going to wait and start our time with that on Thursday, because I think what we watch in that speech will help us right before we get into doing our classmate presentations or classmate introductions. And so, this will be kind of where we pick up on Thursday. But I want to, real quickly, before we end tonight, I want to kind of point out some key parts of the speech outline that I've provided you. So like I said, we will, again, part of my challenge is I'm used to teaching this class for a lot longer period of time, once a week. So still figuring out where to split things. So, but on Thursday, this will be where we pick up. We'll pick up with the commemorative speeches and watching an example of a commemorative speech. What I want you to do between now and then is I want you to just take a look at this speech outline template, and I want you to give some thought to specifically number 2, introduction. Preparation. Specifically to the introduction step. So it's this speech outline, you'll see there are 4 steps. The first is the preparation stage, preparation step. We're going to spend some time talking through that because these 4 parts are part of all of the outline templates in this course. So preparation is first, giving some thought to that speech topic, right? Invention, as we learned from Cicero, right, is one of his 5 canons. We need to spend some time thinking about our topic and what we want to share about our topic. So we'll spend some time on preparation, but what I want you to give some thought to between now and Thursday is that introduction, number 2. So you'll see there's 4 parts, and we'll dive deeper into this. There's 4 parts of an introduction. And this isn't an introduction speech, this is an introduction to your speech. So the first is that attention step, or attention-getting step. You may hear me use those interchangeably. A quote, a story, humor, a statistic, something to get the audience's attention. And that's where we start. Yes? Yeah. Yeah. So that's where we start, is that attention step. So I want you to give some thought to what are some attention steps you could use. Maybe a quote, maybe some humor, and write down 1 or 2 possible attention steps that you could use in a speech. So again, quote, a story, maybe a joke. This will be more specific based on your topic, but it helps just to do some general prep. And so I want you just to do, so you may not use what you find on Thursday, but you might actually use it in any of the upcoming practice speeches. So go ahead and do some research before now on Thursday and find a quote, find a story, find some humor that you could insert into a speech outline to get your audience's attention. And then we'll dive into the other parts, the rapport step, the credibility step, the preview step, and then I'll talk through the body and conclusion in those parts. So really your objective between now and Thursday, find something, at least 1 thing, maybe 2, that you could use as an attention step. And again, if you have a quote, if you have a famous person, maybe it was the quote you used to give your introduction, right? If you used a quote there. So that's perfectly acceptable, yeah. Not tonight. So this will be what, on Thursday, you'll come to class. I will pick up with sharing about commemorative speaking, and then we'll dive deeper into the outline. And then from there, I'll pair you up. You'll spend some time interviewing each other. And I have that assignment if you want to look ahead in advance. I have that assignment on Brightspace. So on Brightspace, you will see you're asking your peer, whoever you're partnered with, give me just 1 more minute. It's not 6:50 yet. Let me have your attention. I'll wait until I have everyone's attention. Thank you. So this, just so you know what we're doing on Thursday, this is what you will be asking each other. What is a societal or community problem that you're passionate about? Right? Examples could include anything related to politics, community problems, nonprofits, issues facing our country, city, or state. And then the second is, in what ways are you interested in helping solve that problem? So come prepared to answer these questions with each other, because then that'll be what you share when you're introducing your classmates. So come prepared to answer those questions with each other on Thursday, and that'll be kind of the majority of our time will be spent with you interviewing each other and then preparing just a short, what we would call impromptu speech to then speak from and introduce us to a classmate. So that's all I have. I'll hang out here if you need anything. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I'll see you on Thursday. This class flies by.
Yeah.
But it's a long day for us. We've been in the office since 7, 8 o'clock.
Yep. It is a long day.
On Tuesday and Thursday.
I didn't hear that. I start my day at 7. All right.
Oh, and thanks for my laptop.
Good. Yes. Glad you got
You
it.
want to put it right there?
Nope, you leave it at your
This will be
seat.
his,
Yep.
10th grade reading level present.
Cool. Thank you. All right. You too.
Make sure you put it.
You too.
I think I got it.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you. See you Thursday.
Yeah, see you Thursday.
Okay.
Bye.
Now I gotta find my character.
Yeah, enjoy your night.
Thank you, sister. No, but seriously, I wonder if this baby going to Harvard or something, cause what do you mean 10th grade? Like,
Definitely.
you're in the 4th grade. Can you have a seat?
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Did I hit you with this?
Oh, I'm not.
Bye. See you
Did I
Thursday.
hit you with this? Oh. Cause I'm like this and it hit. I was like, oh my god, did I hit her?
Cause I don't have to.
No more.
Listen to my proud parent story, Nancy.
I will.
You haven't even heard it.
She goes, I will, and then runs away.
Right. Thank you, Professor Martin.
Of course. Thank you. See you Thursday.
Now I thought that was Kobe. It was at the rim.
I didn't stop it.
Oh, no worries.